a physical barricade outside of the cockpit. I've heard proponents point out that this measure could be effective and not especially expensive, but we've also heard objections, as you know. So I'm planning to offer an amendment to add a secondary barrier to all U.S. passenger carriers manufactured going forward. What do you guys think of this idea or concept?
Sir, my colleagues in aviation safety would probably be more up to speed and involved in that kind of a matter. I would have to defer to them since they're the experts, and certainly have them circle back with you and your team.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. We're working on assignment related to cockpit security and safety. We'd be more than happy to brief you after at another time in the subcommittee in a less open forum about that, if you'd prefer. That would be better. I'd feel more comfortable with that, sir. Is that okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Secondly, how does the explosion of drones into our national airspace factor into air traffic control staffing and management? And some have suggested that the possible use of geofencing or even other techniques to keep airport approaches and takeoff safe and unimpeded by amateur drone operators to keep them out of our airspace. But what is the safety plan to avoid drone accidents that could easily hurt people on the ground or even interfere with other operations? And won't air traffic controllers be needed to keep drone operations safe? How do you guys see this being factored into our proposal today?
Well, our workforce has been dealing with drones for quite some time. We work closely with DOD, DHS, other organizations for larger vehicles. The agency expects to pass a small rule, into the future, and we will work in a very graduated manner on how we roll those vehicles into the national airspace system. We're working closely with NACA on this matter as well. I want to ensure that my workforce is trained, that they have the proper resources. And so we have a lot of activity in this area. I would say that we'll move in a graduated manner, ensure that we have a very safe system, as we do today. Thank you.
We specifically made a recommendation to FAA last year that controllers needed better training and information on specifically deal with unmanned aircraft. And FAA is taking steps to address our recommendation, and they're going to get back to us earlier sometime in September. That's an excellent point, and it will impact the controller workforce. It's reflected, and I think Mr. Rinaldi would agree with that.
Yes, integrating unmanned vehicles into our system is a big challenge. Obviously, the controllers are going to need to identify them, see them on the radar glass, going to need to know exactly what their mission is and where they're going en route of flight in order to continue to vector and keep airplanes separated from them so that it is not a safety issue.
From a commercial airline operation, it's a pretty serious issue for us as well. You've seen what a 2.5-pound goose can do to an airplane and an engine. You can imagine what a 50-pound drone will do to an aircraft, leading edge, engine. I think the bigger the technology that we're going to have to refine, it's one thing to track and be aware of the unmanned aerial vehicle, but having it be controlled and responsive in the airspace is going to be key to ensuring that you can provide separation. It's one thing to watch it, but if we have no control over it, the difference between being unmanned and uncontrolled.
Thank you all. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.